Good morning. Hand today is going to be pocket twos. We have a limper and it folds around to me. This is a 5NL hand. We're playing about 100 big blinds deep. This player is playing 31-12. We do note in his MP stats, mid position stats, it raised first sins 22%. He plays about 28%, so his limp is about 5%, 3 out of 55. I think overall, when we look at his notes, I have limp and call to raise with 8s to 9s, 3s, ace 4, ace 5 offsuit, king queen off, king 10 off, queen jack off. I think based on this information, I'm going to give him something like this. I'm going to give him pocket pairs, 2s through 9s. I'm going to give him some of the offsuits. I'm going to include king queen, king jack, queen jack, jack 10. King 10, I just don't know. That's going to increase it way too much. So like if I do king 10, he probably has queen 10. I was going to say give him the suited cards, but I actually don't think that's right. So we're still like way ahead of where he's at, and maybe he's entirely like that with maybe these types of hands. I think that might get closer to where he's limping with those, and then he would raise like his aces, his king queens, his suited broadways, possibly even suited connectors. So I think we're gonna go with this range, something pretty tight. When we go to my range, I've got always ISOs, all of those optional ISOs look something like this. I just called here. So if I called, I'm going to include the optional ISOs with everything else. So I'm going to have a massive range here. Basically everything except the premium hands. So whatever comes on the flop, I should, in theory, be able to rep it. So should I have raised it with twos? Nah, I don't think so. I think if I raise, he's probably going to call because I think he's heavy in these pocket pairs. So I think he's going to probably be set mining. But if he set mines, that's okay because we know that we can be aggressive and probably get him to fold a lot of his sets or his pairs that don't connect at all. So flop comes Jack Jack 9. I don't imagine this is going to hit him at all. It could hit me. It could hit me in numerous ways. Straight draws, jacks, 9s. Flush draws, backdoor flush draws. I think this is probably a board where I could lead here and probably expect to pick it up a good part of the time. Now, if we look at the lead, the question is, what do we lead with? I don't think the full house gets led. I think we're just calling because my read is that he has. My thought is that he has a pocket pair. So with the pocket pair, he didn't fill up unless he had pocket 9s. But then again, if I have the full house, I've got jack 9s. And there's only one combo left, and that's just way too unlikely. But I think he's got an under pair. If I bet, he's probably not going to call that. I think he's probably just going to fold. So I think what we're going to do is slow play these two. I'm kind of thinking 3 of a kind will be some bet, some bet, and some check slow play. And we may actually do like 50% on these. Like half the time we 3-bet, half the time we don't. Just because, I think we can give a free card, maybe kind of rep that we don't have anything. I think it's pretty unlikely the villain's going to have a heart draw if we go off of this range here. I think it's basically just pairs, under pairs. So if we're looking to try to get more money out from him, I think 3 of a kind could be a check. But at the same time, maybe he doesn't believe us and he calls. And that's why it's like 50-50. Sometimes we bet, sometimes we don't. If we always bet with trips, then we'll never get the call. If we, never bet with trips, then we're always giving him basically infinite odds to hit his full house. I think we should probably lead our middle pairs. Maybe our pocket pairs below the boards. I think we could bluff with an ace high. So we're going to say this. We're bluffing with an ace high. We're bluffing with some of these pocket pairs. I think we can bluff with our flush draws, with our open-enders, with our gut shots. I just think overall this board just misses this villain so much that we should be kind of aggressive with a lot of our range, knowing that we've got a massive range here, and we're going to connect with this board a lot. And I think because we're going to connect with it a lot, there's going to be a lot of cards that we can continue betting. We could continue betting on a heart. We could continue betting on any sort of straight connecting card. So we're looking at king, queen, 10, 8, 7, probably even bet with a 6. There's just a huge number that we could double barrel with. Is that what I did? No, it's not what I did at all. So I think when we look at that, we're going to say no made hand. We're going to have our quads and our full houses in there. We're going to change this to that. So we could possibly have trips, and we're going to get rid of this. So I think right here with the check, we made a mistake. I think we made a mistake by not betting here. Villain checks behind. So villain could be, so I bet he's slow. He could be slow playing full house. I don't think he's slow playing 3 of a kind at all. I think maybe he's afraid of middle pair and pocket pair. Let's get these right. Yep. So what hands? I think a full house checks. I think 3 of a kind doesn't. Should be checking. And then I bet maybe the middle pair and these pocket pair below the boards are going to be checking here. They're going to be scared. So we go and we see a 7. It's actually not a good card. I think it more likely to improve villain's hand at this point, considering that I checked. Once he checked, and based on my check on the flop, I think our play is probably just to check here. Because again, I think we have very few cards to rep, and even if we have a flush draw or a straight draw at this point, let's go fix this. Even if we have a straight, that's better. If we have a straight or a flush draw, we don't want to bet and get raised off that draw. So I think what we look at is a check call. Or we could possibly check raise, but again, if he's betting, he could have pocket 9s, could have pocket 7s. He's not folding those. So I think for us, we would start to bet a full house. Oh no, probably not. I think we would check again. We're hoping villain bet. So a check hits our full house. I think our 3 of a kind probably bets now. Our weak pairs, I mean, I'm sure we're looking at something like this as our range. Just again, overwhelmingly weak, and I don't even know if we could get out of it. I think if we bet, it's just gonna look, I guess if we bet, it's gonna look like we had a jack that we were slow playing. So I guess maybe that's good. Maybe we should be betting again here. And once villain checks again, I'm gonna include the full house, but we're gonna include all of those weak hands. And again, I'm just playing overly weak. 10 of heart comes out, and this is again just a great. Had I been aggressive on the flop, I think I would have picked up this pot almost without a doubt. Now it's gone check. I don't see any reason to bet anymore, even with our full houses. I think it's just going to be checking the entire range. We could bet and kind of represent the heart as a bluff. When we look at villain, he does c bet quite a bit, and then he tapers off on the turn. I think he would have been aggressive at some point. I think we're behind to another pair at some point. Could we get him off the hand? Yeah, I think we could get him off the hand with any sort of bet here. But I think our play should have been that flop. So we went check, check. Let's go to here. At this point, I don't think he has a full house. I think straight probably would have bet. I think we're looking at a weak pair, something like that. So we show 2, he shows a6. He actually has ace high, so I didn't have a6 in the range. We're gonna have to take a note for him so that we have that in there. Limp first in, Mempy with a6 clubs, and then in position, check, check, check. On jack of clubs, jack of hearts, 9 of hearts, 7 spades, 10 of hearts. All right, so I didn't have that in his range. I guess that changes things maybe a little bit. Maybe he's limping more with those. But I still don't think it changes. I think this is a board that we should be attacking on the flop. And then, yeah, we're going to be barreling the turn again because that connects with a lot of our straights. With any of the 8-10s, 7-8s, I mean, gives us a pair now with still the gut shot. We probably triple barrel it. The 10's not the greatest card because if he's calling, he could be calling with heart draws, but I actually don't. I think we have to take it. Question is, would we continue barreling with heart draw or not? And that's kind of that's a good question. Would we continue doing that with a heart draw? I don't know. So, in any case, this was not the greatest. Didn't play it as the greatest. I won it, but I think flop bet is what we need. We need the lead. In a limp pot, we need to lead it because this can hit us much harder than a limper's range will. All right, hopefully you enjoy this. If you do, look tomorrow for another one.